Intel is losing everything. The company whose chips powered nearly every computer on the planet for 30 years has just reported a loss of $16.6 billion in a single year. It has suspended its dividend for the first time since 1992. It has announced the layoff of 15,000 employees, roughly 15% of its entire global workforce. And it is now widely discussed in financial circles as a potential acquisition target. Not a predator, a target. The company that once defined what a technology giant looked like may not survive this decade as an independent business, and almost nobody outside of Wall Street is talking about what actually went wrong. To understand the scale of this collapse, you need to understand what Intel was at its peak. For most of computing history, Intel was not just a chip company, it was the chip company. The phrase, Intel Inside, printed on a small sticker on the bottom of virtually every laptop and desktop computer sold between the 1990s and the 2010s, was one of the most successful branding campaigns in corporate history. Intel did not just make processors, it set the pace of the entire technology industry. Every 2 years, reliably, its chips got faster, smaller, and cheaper, a rhythm so consistent that the industry built its entire product roadmap around it. Gordon Moore, Intel's co-founder, described this pattern in 1965. The world called it Moore's Law, and for 50 years, Intel was the company that made Moore's Law real. At its peak in 2021, Intel's market capitalization was $250 billion. Its chips ran data centers, laptops, government systems, and medical devices. It had a semiconductor manufacturing business, the fabs, that was considered among the most sophisticated industrial operations on Earth. It was, by every traditional measure, untapable. But it had already missed the most important technology shift of the 21st century. And it had done it not once, but 3 times in a row. The first miss was mobile. In 2007, Apple was developing the first iPhone and needed a processor. Steve Jobs approached Intel directly. Intel's then CEO, Paul Otellini, considered the deal and passed. The margins were too thin. The volumes were uncertain. It did not fit Intel's business model. Apple went elsewhere, eventually building its own chips on its own silicon. Within 5 years, the smartphone was the most important computing device in the world. Intel had no meaningful presence in it. None. The company that powered every computer on the planet had 0 share of the device that replaced the computer for 1 billion people. Otellini later said, in an interview given after he retired, that turning down Apple was the biggest mistake of his career. He died in 2013, 3 years before the full consequences became impossible to ignore. The second miss was quieter but more structurally damaging. Through the 2010s, Intel's manufacturing technology, the processes it used to etch circuits onto silicon, began falling behind. For decades, Intel had always been at the leading edge. But in 2016, and again in 2018, Intel announced delays in its next-generation manufacturing process. Each delay was initially presented as minor, a few months, a technical setback. But the delays compounded. And while Intel was stumbling, a Taiwanese company called TSMC was not. TSMC became the manufacturer of choice for every chip designer in the world, including Apple, Qualcomm, AMD, and eventually NVIDIA. By 2020, TSMC was producing chips that Intel's own factories could not match. The fabs that were supposed to be Intel's unassailable moat had become its most expensive liability. And then came miss number 3, the one that may prove fatal. In 2012, a researcher named Alex Krzyzewski used NVIDIA graphics chips to train a neural network that crushed every competitor in a major image recognition competition. The artificial intelligence research community noticed immediately. NVIDIA's chips, designed originally for video game graphics, turned out to be extraordinarily well suited for the mathematics of machine learning. NVIDIA saw what was happening and pivoted its entire business toward AI computing. Intel saw what was happening too, and did almost nothing useful about it for the better part of a decade. By 2023, NVIDIA's market capitalization had surpassed $1 trillion on the back of AI chip demand that Intel had no credible product to address. Intel's response, a GPU product line called Gaudi, arrived late, underperformed on every benchmark that mattered, and was quietly dropped from major cloud provider roadmaps within months of its launch. The company that sat at the center of computing for half a century had been outmaneuvered in the most important new computing market in history by a company that originally made graphics cards for teenagers playing video games. The financial consequences arrived with brutal speed. In 2024, Intel reported a $16.6 billion loss. The dividend, paid without interruption since 1992, was suspended. Pat Gelsinger, the CEO who had been brought back in 2021 specifically to lead what he called Intel's Great Comeback, was forced out in December 2024 after the board concluded the turnaround was not working fast enough. His replacement has not announced a strategy capable of convincing Wall Street that Intel can simultaneously close the gap with TSMC in manufacturing, with NVIDIA in AI, and with AMD in consumer processors all at once, with a balance sheet under severe strain. There is now serious discussion among analysts about whether Intel should be broken apart, its manufacturing business separated from its chip design business. Qualcomm has been named as a potential acquirer. Apollo Global Management, a private equity firm, has already made investments in Intel's manufacturing operations. The most advanced semiconductor manufacturer in American history may end up being restructured by people whose primary expertise is in financial engineering rather than silicon engineering. And here is the detail that will not appear in any quarterly earnings call. Intel's headquarters sits in Santa Clara, California, on a campus its employees call the mothership. Inside one of those buildings, there is a framed copy of Gordon Moore's original 1965 paper, the one that described what became Moore's Law, the prediction that guided the entire technology industry for 60 years, written by the man who built the company that made it real. The engineers who walk past that frame today are the ones receiving the layoff notices. The people who kept Moore's Law alive are being told their services are no longer required by a company that is now trying to determine whether it has a future at all. Intel did not lose because the technology stopped working. It lost because 3 times, at 3 of the most consequential decision points in the history of computing, the people running the company chose the safe option, the profitable option, the option that protected this quarter's margins, and 3 times, the future went somewhere else. If you found this story fascinating, hit subscribe. There are more untold stories like this one waiting for you.